All right, here we go. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shai. Shabbat Shalom, 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 peace. Welcome to all my brothers and sisters who's tuning in live, or if you're watching this on the back end, it's another Friday Night Lights, and you know what time it is. I ain't forgot. I have not forgot. It's time to double back, man. Part two regarding the marking of the digital ID in this beast system. All right. Prayerfully, everybody's doing well. If you have not already, man, make sure that you share this video, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? It is that time. We've got a lot to cover, and I don't want to waste too much more time. I don't want anybody to be getting lost in the mix. But if you been around, you've been picking up what I've been putting down. But if you're not, don't get too close because you might get shot, man. Shalom and peace to the families in the house. With these new handles, I don't know who's who anymore, but I know that's Hashemai in the house, Shalom you, Kohath, I believe that's you in the house, Ashar in the house, Bayan in the house of Bayan, Shalom to all of y'all, Shalak, and anyone and everyone else is going to be joining us this evening. Shabbat Shalom to all of y'all, right? Yeah, we got to get into this, man. We got to maintain focus. We got to maintain the understanding of really what's going on with all the distractions and everything that's going on in the world. We see what just happened with the two National Guards soldiers. They got, well, one's been announced, officially put to death. The other one, I believe, is still in critical condition. They're calling it a terrorist attack. We're learning now that this Afghan immigrant who was granted asylum by Agent Orange has ties to the CIA. False flag anyone? Inside, maybe. Who knows? Just on the heels of that, Pete Hegseth announced 500 more troops going to D.C. We know what time it is when they're trying to get an objective put forth. As good old Rahm Emanuel would say, never let a good crisis go to waste. That's going on in D.C. There's a lot of things going on. You're hearing about the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. No. We'll cover all those and some more stuff, in the near future. But tonight we got to cover and get back into this digital ID and the marking of the beast system. I believe that the first one was pretty much well received. So of course we got to double back, do part two, and get into it. All right. So let me share my screen. We're gonna get right into the nitty gritty. No games being played. All right. If you're not liking the, which is ironic, I found out what was going on with with the uh, the screen, the vertical and the horizontal screen sharing. It's a new feature that's on the streaming app. It's like let me stop this for a minute while I'm talking to you. It's a new feature on the streaming app, right? And it gives people options of how they want to watch. I guess sometimes if people are more apt to watching on their phones, the vertical feature is more preferable. Ironically, more people liked or viewed the vertical than they did the horizontal, which is surprising to me. But whichever one that you like, feel free to tap into either one. All you got to do is go to the subscription or go to the main channel. It should give you two options on which one you want to see. You want to see a horizontal? Click on that link. You want to see it vertically? Click on that link. Either way, it's all good by me. But I see that it's just an option. And because of the fact that I see that the vertical, a lot of people prefer that, I'm going to leave that there. All right. Last week I was kind of confused and I was like, what the heck's going on? I had to do some research, figured out what it was. And we see it's just two options of viewing. I guess one is more phone friendly. The other one is more for, tablets and TVs and whatever the case may be. And you don't have to flip your phone over to do the automatic rotation, whatever. So it is what it is. Just gives a couple different options of how to view the content. So that's what it is. All right. Again, let's go ahead and get on back to where we was. All right. Let's see. Let's pick it up here. And I think we ended here. We ended here. Let me if I'm coming in clear, drop a 7 in the chat. If you're seeing okay, drop a 7 in the chat. I need 7s for both. Let me make sure that the share screen is going good. And we're gonna get right to it, y'all. Okay, yeah, I do see that. Okay, so it looks like it's showing up okay. All right, all praises. Let's get right to it. So we ended off here at this particular video. We were talking about how in Brussels they were talking about how the cash was going to be. There was rumors on the internet creeping around saying that Brussels is getting rid of cash and is going to criminalize it. Well, there is partial truth to that. They have limitations. I believe starting in 2027, $10,000 or 10,000 euro cash transactions will be banned. So they do want you to go to a digitized way. They claiming that it's for money laundering. And one thing that we have to know is the digital space when it comes down to the blockchain and the digital ledgers with um, the digi coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, all them other things. They're always been pushing that this is a way for black market crime to go down. This is the way that people are washing their money clean, money laundering. So they're going to attack. At one point, they're sitting out here encouraging everybody to get into the Digicoin space, right? But at the same time, they're saying, well, this is where the criminals are at. So what they're going to do is they're going to shut all that business down and come in with a regulated currency. That's where they're going to get the digital money from. So they always are going to say it's for your own good. But let's rewatch this and then we're going to get into some more stuff.
Is Brussels set to criminalize cash? The EU is looking to make cash.
Matter of fact, before we do this, because I'm going to be playing a few videos tonight, let me make sure that this is clear. Anything and everything that you see this evening is going to be used under fair use. Okay, under the Fair Use Act, anything that I'm playing is under being used for teaching, scholarship, education, and research and commentary. All right, so any and all videos that are played this evening is used and is being used under fair use. I'm not profiteering off of any of this. All right, so let's get back to it. And now, mind you, we talked about also even going all the way back to the book Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. I've made mention of this a few times. I think he published and wrote that in 91, 89, somewhere around there. I think it was 91 though. But the understanding of a cashless society was being put out way back then under the NWO, the New World, you know the rest. Now we're seeing these things come to pass. See, Esau is very patient. You talk about, man, you know how a snake moves. A snake is patient, man. They will sit back and creep, shed their skin, move through the bushes, move through the grass, wrap themselves around trees, camouflage themselves, licking that tongue out, getting a sense for what's in the air, what they can kind of manipulate and take advantage of. They slowly creep, and then they bite down, and wait for the poison to kick in, the neurotoxins to affect the nervous system or whatnot, shut you down, paralyze you to where you're helpless, and then you get devoured. That's how Esau moves. That's why he's known as the great great red dragon and the serpent and all the above in Revelation 12. That's Esau. Under the auspices of the Roman Empire and all these other kingdoms that proceeded after that, from Great Britain to Rome, to America. He's a snake. So here you are, knowing that this particular plan was done well over 30, 40 years. But he waited that long to slowly but surely implement these things. And it's being done under all species of convenience to help you, maintain your privacy, to make sure that you're keeping away the criminals from hacking into your accounts and stopping people from money laundering and all this other stuff. And he's the one doing all of this stuff. He's the one hacking accounts. He's the one doing cyber attacks. He's the one freezing bank accounts. Go ask, what was it, Thailand? 3 million bank accounts got frozen as they were switching into the digital economy. He's the one doing all these things and then double back and say, oh, no, it's the bad guys. They're the ones doing it. Let's let this play.
Is Brussels set to criminalise cash? The EU is looking to make cash transactions which surpass €10,000 illegal tender, effectively killing cash, according to a series of social media posts like these ones. So let's verify what's really going on. Europe is introducing a block-wide limit on cash payments which exceed €10,000 in transactions between private individuals and businesses. These measures are part of a sweeping overhaul aiming to clamp down on money laundering, which is set to come into force in 2027.
You hear that? So it's about money laundering. So essentially they're saying a private individual, me personally, I cannot take my hard-earned money that I've worked for. I decided, you know what? I'm not going to keep my money in the bank. I'm keeping it at home. Shoebox, under the mattress, in a safe. I stack up my money. I've saved up $15,000 because I want to go buy this new car. 2027, I will not be able to do that. They're going to freeze any type of transaction between me and said business, go investigate me as to why I've got this much cash. Is very similar to when you go, you travel out of the country, you can't have more than $10,000 cash on you. The last I remember, that's what it was. When you're dealing with in America with laws such as civil asset forfeiture, I did a couple of DSTMs in classes on that. Civil asset forfeiture. There's a movie called what is it on Netflix? What's the name of that movie? Something about the bridge. If anybody remember, Ashar, you pretty good with that. It's the one with the brother in the small town. He's got cash, so he got 30,000 on it. He's going to go bail out his cousin, and the cops steal his money and say that it's involved. They take his money under civil asset forfeiture, saying that they believe that it was involved. It was gotten from drug money, and he ended up having to fight to get his money back physically. But that's what they do here. Where if you've got a certain amount of cash on you, it is considered criminal, because all they have to deem is say that you've gotten this money illegally. We have reason to suspect that the money that you've gotten, 10,000, 20,000 on you, was gotten illegally. It gets seized by the local police department. Then it gets locked up with the federal in federal courts, and then they go ahead and distribute it back to said police departments. And then the corrupt cops just take the money, and they know you're not gonna fight for it. You ain't got long enough bread to fight the feds in the courts. You end up taking a loss on it, and it could take 2, 3, 4, 5 years for you to even have your money released to you. So there's already a semblance of criminalizing cash here in America as it is. So here in Brussels, they're pretty much doing the same thing, but they're going to put it in 2027. But let's continue.
According to the EU, money laundering threatens the integrity of the bloc's economy, as well as the security of citizens. Sales brokered between two private individuals will generally be excluded from these new legal provisions. According to this viral post, the EU is making buying a car in cash a crime. This is half true. From 2027, buying a car in cash is not automatically a crime, but it could be an illegal transaction depending on who you buy it from and how much it costs. For example, if you're looking to buy a car which costs more than €10,000 from a dealership rather than from another individual, the business will not be allowed to accept that amount in cash. You could, however, still buy the car through a bank transfer or with a bank card. Although a €10,000 limit will be implemented, EU member states are free to introduce stricter national limits on cash transactions between a business and a private individual. Ultimately, Europeans will still be able to save, hold, and withdraw any cash amount they like So no, the EU is not killing cash. Although criticism of the package has been sensationalized online, the package itself is not without controversy. Experts have questioned whether imposing the cash limit is actually effective, or whether it risks criminals simply shifting.
See, that's how Esau plays these games in semantics. Of course, they're not quote unquote killing cash. Cash will still be in existence. What they are killing is the amount that you can actually utilize for business transactions as an individual. So that's the semantic games that they're playing. So are they criminalizing cash? Yes, they're saying it will be considered a crime in 2027. That if you're paying for cash as a private citizen dealing with a business, that it would be considered criminal. So the answer is yes, but they're playing these games saying, "Oh, but cash isn't criminalized. You can have $9,000 in cash. You can still have $100 in cash. That's not the problem." People are lying, saying we're going to get rid of cash. No, you know exactly what you're doing, and they said that they were going to consider even adjusting those amounts. So, let's not fall for the okey doke with that. Okay. So let's continue on. We did watch this last episode or last class. I want to continue on. All right.
Other methods.
Now, uh, this one I believe we did watch as well, but if not, we're going to go ahead and go over it. This is something we have to be conscious of as well. It says AI can now stalk you with just a single vacation photo. So we have to really be conscious. I don't do this. A lot of our people are really caught up in um, self gratification and glorifying themselves. That's one of the scriptures that we were forewarned of in the book of First Timothy, the 3rd chapter. Excuse me, Second Timothy. Second Timothy 3, and let's read verse 1 and 2. It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good." Now, the main thing is what we want to look at is men shall be lovers of themselves. So not only is this an implication of uh, the rise of homosexuality, but also the vanity that will be within men and within women. How many people are caught up in the game of the selfies, taking pictures of every place that you're at, taking pictures of your food, taking pictures of your location, taking pictures on vacation, constantly trying to have people quote follow you online. Follow me, follow me. No, that's where the tech comes into play, where it gets into the ego and the mind and the pride and the arrogancy of man, and we fall victim to these things. But it said these are going to things that's going to happen in the last days, and we see all of the other unrighteous and seditious things that happen within people. Right now, notice this. It says that AI can stalk you with just a single vacation photo. That's what they want us to do. They want you to go ahead and share everything in your life, because what are they doing? It's all data collection. The beast is just getting fed. They're constantly getting food thrown in their throats, feeding on your information, my information, your pictures, getting more things so they can have more facial recognition, more biometric data, so they can track everywhere that you've been. What do you like to eat? Who are you sharing this with? Now that's going to connect them to the next person, that your friend, family, or whoever, and creating this big giant database. But check this out.
Do you want to talk about Black Mirror in real life? Okay, so there's this guy on Twitter named Dries DePorter, described as an artist, speaker, and concept provider who makes projects around surveillance, privacy, and artificial intelligence. So, do you ever feel like you're being watched? Well, his new project, The Follower, kind of proves that you are. Essentially, it's an AI software where you can upload an Instagram picture, and it will source all of the open CCTV cameras around the world until it finds the video of that Instagram picture being taken.
Did you hear that? They took a picture on Instagram. They downloaded into this AI system that then accesses all the CCTV cameras in the world. to find out if they're able to find where you took that picture at. They scan your face, they run it through all the CCTV databases in the world, and they can pinpoint where you were. Oh, you was at Venice Beach. Oh, you was at Myrtle Beach. Oh, you was at Disneyland. We found her. We found him.
I'm not kidding. For example, this picture, the AI was able to find this video, or this picture and this video, and this one as well. Right now, this isn't an app or just something that anyone could use, but it is a reminder of how so much of your information is out there and how easy it is to find your location. Just one guy put this together in 10 days. Imagine what a whole team could do with a month. And yes, this is your reminder to read up on how to protect your digital privacy. That is all for this video, but as always, if this interested you and you want to see more like it, I'd really appreciate it if you followed along.
Now, see, one of the things they also have is, they got the Google Earth, where they have the satellites zooming in and beaming down on everything. They have EarthCam, which is an app that you can get on your Amazon TV or Roku TV or whatever, where you can tap into various satellite cameras all throughout the world and just people watch. And people have no idea that you're on a camera, that they're watching you in New Orleans, watching you in New York, watching you Hawaii, watching you in Thailand, watching you in Russia, and people are just sitting back watching. Now, if they're letting this particular technology be accessible to the public, what type of technology do they have that they're not? As far as surveillance goes, as far as data collection goes, that's the scary thing. That's why he just said this isn't available to the public, but this guy was able to track down 2 or 3 people in 10 days. And they have no idea. All they're doing is thinking, oh, I'm just being so cool, sharing my photos and sharing my vacation wherever I'm at. Okay, let's continue on. Now, digital public infrastructure, a pillar of the UN's ambitious global digital compact. So notice that this is a infrastructure that's built up on the UN. This is going to be a global thing. Stop thinking is just, I know we talked about it earlier that they already got it rolled out in India. They got it rolled out in China. They got it rolled out in various countries in Africa. Yeah, it's here too. This is going to be a global thing, a world thing. This is why they're talking about the, what do they call it? Everybody's got their particular slogans. Slow Biden was talking about Build Back Better. They've got the Great Reset and the Global Reset is what the World Economic Forum likes to call it, which is the think tanks. Klaus Schwab and those guys. These are the ones who create the think tanks. These are the ones who come up with the plans and the plots, the funding, the billionaire donors, the 1%ers. The elitists who want to control everything, who want to decrease the population so it's more manageable. And this is what they're trying to do, right? So they're acknowledging that there's going to be a digital infrastructure for the public that's coming. It's already being here. People are already being acclimated to it. People are already getting used to it, submitting themselves to it, not realizing the dangers and what they're getting ready to make a covenant with. And it's all building up for this beast system completely devour you, me, and everybody else who submits themselves to it. This is why we have to form a resistance. Number 1, in the spirit. Number 2, within the law, statutes, and commandments, and the framework that the Most High gave his people to live by, to be separate. That's what holy means, right? Holy means to be separate, to be set apart. And you're only going to get those through the law, statutes, and commandments. This is what's going to make us differentiate between the wickedness and the righteousness. When they're starting to push everybody going down one particular avenue, that's when we say, that ain't where I'm supposed to be going, because even Christ told us in Matthew the 7th chapter. Let's look at that real quick. And verse 13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So where the crowd is going, where everybody's going, that ain't where you're supposed to be going. We're supposed to go against the grain, swim upstream. Don't go along with the flow of the river, because that's going to lead to destruction. And many's going to go there at. You're going to have Israelites going to be compromised, saying, hey, man, don't worry about that. No, the Most High knows my heart. I'm moving on faith, brother. You can't tell me I'm breaking the law with it. Okay, but you're gonna see. Verse 14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So it's letting it be known. This is going to be a path less chosen that we're going to have to find ourselves willing to walk, which is going against what everybody else is going to be convincing you and trying to tell you this is the way to go. This is the only way that you're going to survive. This is the only way that you're going to be able to make it. Just accept the terms and conditions that the beast lays out and live. But we'll get into it as we continue on. All right. Digital public infrastructure has made it into the United Nations Ambitious Pact for the Future, designed to boost cooperation and multilateralism among member nations. The pact, adopted last weekend during the UN Summit of the Future in New York, outlines several goals that are to be achieved by 2030. 2030 is always the key. I did a lesson maybe 2-3 years ago about Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, the self-sustainable goals, and all that other stuff. I might have even re-uploaded it not long ago. If I didn't, or if you don't know about it, look for it in the catalog. If you're having trouble with it, we'll double back on it. But the initial goal was Agenda 21. That was the initial movement that they had, and Agenda 21 is all about. They call about it. They talk about a self-sustainable goals for land and home ownership and all this other stuff. Bottom line, by 2030 or the agenda of 2030, the goal is, as the famous quote says, you'll have nothing, own nothing, and be happy. That's pretty much servitude. That's being a slave, right? When our people was working and slaving in them fields, picking cotton, sugar cane, tobacco, we had nothing, owned nothing, but we were still singing in them fields. We were still happy to have a little meal and to get into them little shanty shacks, bunked up with 20 of us in one little home, still procreating. We was making the best out of what we was given. And that's what they're saying. They want everybody to be in that same position now. Home ownership, forget about it. Um, Being able to or being restricted based upon your carbon footprint, meaning your travel, your food intake, your health care, they're gonna want to control everything. All the jobs is gonna be in the next 5 years, there's gonna be a handful, maybe 10, 20 jobs. And technically they said it's even gonna be less than that really available that AI and the digital revolution has not taken over. So there's not going to be jobs. The food supply is going to be jacked up. They're going to introduce a universal basic income for everybody to be sustained on. It's going to be based upon your carbon credits. It's going to be based upon your social credit score. All those things are going to be regulated. Indentured servitude. And they said you're going to be happy. You're going to like it. Right? So it says this is all going to be achieved by 2030. You're going to constantly hear that echo with a lot of these particular agendas. Everything, the deadline is 2030. Now, remember, it was 2020 and Agenda 21 was the initial, but there was too much awakening going on. There was follies going on with the elections. They let out the COVID and everything else. And they had to backtrack a little bit. So they got a little extension and said, okay, well, by 2030, we'll get it cracking. But let's continue on. Achieved by 2030, including increased investment into digital public goods and digital public infrastructure, especially in developing countries. The pact supports adopting open standards and interoperability and promises to develop safeguards for inclusive, responsible, safe, secure, and user-centered digital public infrastructure. So it's always going to be as user-friendly. Don't worry, we're going to use your facial recognition. We're going to use your biometric fingerprint. We're going to use your iris scan. Don't worry. It's responsible. It's safe. It's secure. It's all centered around you. Okay. Another goal is to exchange best practices in cases of DPI to inform governments, the private sector, and other stakeholders. So here's another country, Guyana. Their plans for digital ID enrollment while waiting for the legal framework. So we've seen it everywhere from China, Guyana, Kenya, Nigeria, India. They're doing it in uh, Arabia. We just seen in Great Britain, they said you're going to have a digital ID in order to work. So it's spreading out like a plague right now. It's already here in America with the uh, 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 real IDs and all. That's just a soft touch. Real ID is just a little spank on the butt saying, "Hey, this is where it's going." Oh yeah, you can still walk around. You don't have to have a real ID. But if you want to buy ammunition, you want to buy a firearm, you're gonna have to bring your license. You're gonna have to bring your birth certificate. You're gonna have to bring a passport if you got that. If you want to enter a federal building, you're gonna need all those particular things. You want to travel, you're gonna need all those particular things. Don't you just want everything to be centralized on a little ID card? Isn't it a lot more convenient? And even that's going to be transformed into something else within the next 5 years. Look, Afghanistan hands out 10 million digital IDs in 4 years. See, this is they pose this public persona that the Afghans are just savage Arabs living in caves in the mountains and running around. They're in with the technical revolution too. You can talk about the Taliban, you can talk about ISIS and all that other stuff. You just seen the one cat man just went traveled from Washington State all the way to DC, carried out a terrorist attack. But he's worked for the CIA. They're all on the same page too. You cannot be deceived by looking and saying, "Oh, the Arabs are the bad guys, the Muslims." Yeah. Meanwhile, they're on board with the global standards as well. See, when it's all said and done, all that is just propaganda and BS to create boogeymen, to create things to have people thinking, "Oh, those are the ones we need to be concerned about." No, the man behind the curtain is the one with the puppeteer strings. Those are the ones you got to be focused in on. Now look at this. Democrats press Palantir about reported creation of IRS mega database. Yeah. Palantir, we know about them. We've talked about them. And remember, the head of Palantir, Sam Altman, sodomite, they're tapped in with the IRS and they're creating a database just off the IRS. Many of you may not know, or you may know. You know that now, in order to access your records on the IRS website, is all done by biometrics now. You got to take. They need your fake. They do facial recognition now. You log onto the website, or you log on to irs.gov, and you saying, "Where's my refund at?" or "I want to pay my bill," or what? They saying, "Hey, we don't know if it's you or not. We need your biometrics. Take a picture of your face, open your mouth, do all other stuff, and then they log it into the database so that you can have your own privatized account." But remember, even with the World Economic Forum with the digital ID, didn't they say that your government payments, IRS, and everything else is going to be digitized according to them? Didn't I have that on here? Hold on. I think I did have it on here. Where's it at? We covered. No, it's not there. There you go, right here. We're gonna get to it. See right here? It's a little blurry, but here you see here, e-government for citizens to access and use services, file taxes, vote, or collect benefits. This is all going to be in one digital ID system. Okay. Now, yeah, y'all can see I got some stuff coming. So let's look at here. Now we know Palantir has been known for data collection, surveillance, and monitoring. A group of Democrats are demanding that Palantir provide Congress with additional information about its contracts with the federal government following reports that the tech company is working with the IRS to create a searchable database of U.S. taxpayers' records. Do you see that? So, just like any place and every place else, as a pattern of Rome, if you can, we know in what is it, Luke the second chapter about under. Let's just go there. We know and see how America operates, right? Luke 2. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. So, this is all the known world. It's not talking about the four corners of the earth, because the Maya, the Inca, the Aztec, they wasn't paying taxes to Caesar. They're talking about the known world that Rome controlled. Everybody in there was paying taxes. Same way that they do here. If you're here in America, it is illegal if you do not file your taxes, if you don't submit your information, your W-9, your W-2s, if you don't submit, and you have to be registered with them to do business, to be able to be on a payroll. They want to make sure that they're getting their money. It's no different than what's going on right now. So what better way to keep a database of people and to have everybody in one particular system that's searchable than the IRS? And now Palantir is saying we need access to that, so we can also share that information. That's how they're going to have access to everybody's information, is now they're working in cooperation with the government. In a June 17 data letter to Palantir's CEO Alex Karp, the lawmakers asserted that the company is enabling and profiting from serious violations of federal law by the Trump administration. The missive, led by Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat of Oregon, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, comes after an article published by the New York Times last month said the company's work with the administration, quote, began as a way to create a single searchable database for the IRS, but has since expanded into developing a centralized platform of information on Americans that would be shareable across federal agencies. So this is how they're gaining access to everybody, is by manipulating the IRS, and it's illegal. And you don't hear nothing about it. There's no charges filed. There's no Supreme Court ruling, because they're all complicit with this. So this is how they wanted to go. Here you go. Oracle settles suit over tracking your data. How to file a claim. Remember this? We talked about this. Oracle also was on a payroll with Trump. Trump, had that $500 billion AI infrastructure within the big, beautiful bill. Brought in Oracle, brought in Palantir, brought in OpenAI, right? Brought in all of these particular firms that specialize in tracking, data collection, all that other stuff. This is what they do. One of the companies has already been sued and had to settle $150 million suit for tracking and collecting people's information illegally. Larry Ellison, head of Oracle. And he's out buying up all of these damn entertainment companies, him and his son. So they're monopolizing, they're taking over every damn thing. What you watch, where you go, what you're doing. They're already creating this grid. Now check this out. This is one of the brothers in Jamaica has shared this. And this is during the time of COVID. And he shared this and was acknowledging what it was like to travel internationally at the time. And they were talking about the digital passports. This is all real time. He's going to explain everything that he had to go through. The COVID-19 thing, that was a beta test. In other words, that was to get everybody accustomed to being surveilled, being tracked, being monitored. How well are you going to follow instructions? How much are you going to resist? Who's going to buckle under pressure when you're not able to go to the basketball games, when you can't go to work, when you can't, go to the nursing home, when you can't get in the hospital to see your loved one? how much are you going to bend and break in order to ride with the program? And there's a lot of people who got buyer's remorse right now, who got poked in the arm, got boosted a bunch of times, got sick as hell. Some people have passed away. Family members is hitting you up, regretting, talking about, they got heart problems now. They still got numbness in their left leg ever since they got poked in the arm. Saying, damn, I should have listened to you. I thought you was tripping. It ain't that, and then they try to lighten it. It ain't that bad, I don't even know if that was it, but they know what time it is. But check this out and just get an example of what he went through, this brother went through. And then at the same time, know that this is what is going to be in the future when they have the ability to restrict your travel. If you don't have this digital marking, if you're not going with the program, right? So check this out.
How's the Knicks? It's a quick one. I recorded a video earlier, but I was trying to go through all the things and it was too long, so WhatsApp's not allowing me to send. It was too long. So let me quickly just show you. So yeah, this is the application. You can see here, got my name and my Saudi ID number. I mean, every country has their own applications now. It's not like a new thing, but they had applications in South Africa and other places started off as like just for COVID protection, to update you and on the happenings or the latest news or the hotspots or whatever. Now this is to control you wherever you go. You can't go anywhere without this application. You can see here, it says on the green space, no record of infection. If I click on it, there's a different health conditions arrive from abroad. I was in blue when I came from South Africa. I had to quarantine. It tells me what to do quarantine for 7 days. Now I'm in the green zone, no record of infection. Okay, but that's not the top. The top is the dark green, saying immune, which means you have taken both doses of the vaccine. So now you have to show this. When you walk into the shop, you have to show this.
Now, my bad. Now, you notice what they have here.
How's the Knicks?
It's a QR code within the app. Why is that important? Because if you notice, let me see something. Notice here, see this right here? On the digital ID, it's a QR code. That's what every phone is going to have equipped. You're going to have to scan your QR code. This is part of the Smart City application, the 15-minute city, where it's all going to be based around, sustainable living, having everything localized for you. You can have everything that you need within 15 minutes. Energy conservation, energy usage, everything's going to be tracked according to this. Back when they had the Olympics, what was it, 2024? They had the Olympics and they were over there in France and they already had this implemented. You couldn't get into certain areas of the city unless you had this particular QR code that you scanned. Right? Now he was acknowledging, he said, look, this was going on back then. But it was all about, dealing with Salakia, let me get this back. It was all dealing with his ability to travel. So he left from South Africa. Then he was going to, I think he was going to Saudi Arabia or Dubai. And he had to make sure that he had the app.
But they had applications
you see there,
in South Africa.
That's the QR code that when he goes through, the airports or whatnot, is going to acknowledge that he has no record of infection. I saw good looking out. That was it, Rebel Ridge. I was thinking about the bridge. I knew you'd find it. So, Sluggy, just not to get sidetracked, y'all, but Rebel Ridge is that movie I was trying to remember on Netflix that deals with civil asset forfeiture. Good movie. Check it out. All right. Getting back to this. Now, remember, the scriptures even say that a man shall desire to go into a city and not be able in 2nd Ezra 15. This is all part of the framework. This is all part of Why is it not? Am I not spelling Ezra's right? What is going on? Second Esdras 15. I don't know what was going on. Thought I was spelling it right. Guess not. Second Esdras 15:17, right? It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. This is part of the restrictive movement. If you're not, within the program, if you're not checking out, if your marking, quote unquote, isn't correct, you won't be able to travel. So this is just another example I'm trying to show y'all when they utilize COVID as the reason for restrictive of travel. I'm gonna let this finish and then we'll continue.
And other places started off as like just for COVID protection, to update you and on the happenings or the latest news or the hotspots or whatever. Now this is to control you wherever you go. You can't go anywhere without this application. You can see here, it says on the green space, no record of infection. If I click on it, there's a different health conditions. Arrived from abroad. I was in blue when I came from South Africa. I had to quarantine. It tells me what to do quarantine for 7 days. Now I'm in the green zone, no record of infection. Okay, but that's not the top. The top is the dark green, saying immune, which means you have taken both doses of the vaccine. So now you have to show this. When you walk into the shop, you have to show this. They can even scan the QR code to see if it's true or not, if it's you or it's somebody else. So they're already pushing for people to get up to this dark green. They're giving stores big money to give discounts to people for those who have the vaccine. I get emails at work. I get SMS every single day to book an appointment for the vaccine. They're talking about traveling rumors and airlines and that are going to start allowing only people with the vaccine to travel. So it's pushing, it's coming. But basically, I can't go anywhere without my phone now. And I can't go anywhere without internet connection. Because I won't be allowed to buy. I won't be allowed to sell. I won't be allowed to interact with people.
Do you hear what he's saying? He already was experiencing this 4 years ago. They already have all of this lined up. You can't go into the shops. You have to constantly be connected to the internet. The Wi-Fi is going to have to be connected. And they're going to have universal Wi-Fi all over the place. You ain't got to worry about running into a McDonald's to get free Wi-Fi or the library. They're going to have microwave towers and 5G towers lined up all over the place to make sure that everybody is connected. And there's going to be alerts if you're roaming around and your phone ain't connected. Can't buy, can't sell, can't go or travel to certain areas or whatnot unless the app is on, his phone is with him, and he's passed all the quote unquote inspections.
In any place of business or any shop or if I want to visit one of my friends in another compound or something, I can't go because they're going to ask for this app. And just the phone itself is not enough. I need to have an internet connection also because this needs to be connected to the internet and my location needs to be on. There's some O's that got into trouble and they got arrested because they had a gathering at the one O's house where there were over 20 people. Nobody needs to report or anything. The application shows how many people are all together at the same time. So this is.
Did you hear that? He said that there was a group that got arrested because they had a gathering of more than 20 people. Nobody had to call the police. The app already sounded off that there were too many people gathered in one place. The app, the QR codes wasn't sounding off. It's just wild stuff going on, man. And this is how they're going to track everything. This is why you just got through hearing about Palantir saying, well, we're going to get all the data from the IRS and create the surveillance grid. Oracle's already on deck, already got busted, surveilling and taking everything. AI is already locked into all the CCTV cameras all throughout the world. to watch where you at, what you're doing, what you're eating, who you're with. Why is your location not on your phone? How come you don't you follow?
What it is. I left 2 months ago, came back, and this is how we're operating now. Not just for me, for my wife also. And if I go to, you can see here, health passport. Basically, your phone is now your passport with this application. Health condition card, that's where all my family members are. COVID-19 test, my records of tests and all of that. Gathering place code, you can see that. Every place has like a QR code that they want you to scan so that you can say that you were here, and the phone, they can have evidence that the phone did scan that QR code. This is how we're operating, bro. I can't just get up, walk out my house and just go where I would like to go. No, I can't. Those days are over here. So this is where we're moving, bro. Slowly, the building blocks are being built. I just wanted to share that.
So you heard what he said. He says it's all for his whole family. Everything is locked in on the phone. What is everybody so attached to now? Right? Why are they having to limit screen time for the kids? Because the kids is all locked in. You got toddlers now who can't go without a tablet or a phone. They need it for the entertainment. They need it for the games. They need it for the colors. They need it for the movie. Kids are being raised into this, right? There was an old, they used to get them chain emails where people would say, I remember one that was put out and they was talking about, do you value your Bible as much as your phone? And you had to think about it. Because if you say, well, if you leave out the house and you forget your phone, you're doubling back. It doesn't matter how far away you are. You're like, oh, shit, I forgot my phone. You're running back. Worried as hell. But forget your Bible. Oh, yeah, I forgot my Bible. It's okay. I'll be all right. God got me. Nowadays, is well, if I got my phone, I got my Bible, I got my app on there. Right? But just imagine if the same value was put into the word of the Most High as we do the technology, we'd be in a better position. But now, because everybody's addicted to the tech, it's much easier to slide in the back door these apps. You notice now you get these new phones, they come up with apps already pre-installed on them. You can't get rid of TikTok. You can't get rid of damn Facebook and all. You can't delete these apps. They are automatically locked in on the phones. And now they're telling you, oh, in order to use them, you got to agree to all of the damn agree to all the conditions and everything else. You understand? So they want you to have all this stuff. Let's continue. I'm not sure what happened with the sound on this one. I guess we're just going to read the closed captions. Notice the convenience. Everything is phone based. See, when you're dealing with the mark, it's already going to be something of convenience that everybody's already going to be accustomed to using. That's how he can deceive the whole world. Because you're not expecting it to be a matter of convenience. You're not realizing that you're already absorbing yourself into the tech. You're already buying into, a transhumanist mind state saying, I'm already one with my phone. How many people is already using, your thumbprints, your face prints to open up your phones, open up your, unlock everything? Everything now is two-step verification. You're tired of passwords, you're tired of, no, hey, just give us your fingerprints, just give us your face. It's okay. Lock on in. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let me continue. Supermarkets, shopping centers, everything, libraries, gyms, everything was based upon this just 4 years ago. They're just refining, retooling it up. And don't let it just be another quote unquote incident that comes across that says, hey, this new crisis that came out is the reason why we got to re-implement this, and this one's not going away this time. Remember, before they was already talking about this is the new normal. They had enough resistance. People was like, no, we ain't having it. No, stop this. We're tired of this, blah, blah, blah. right? Now you're seeing what time it is. Retool up, get everybody back into get everybody back into effect. All right, go ahead. Let me let this go ahead. And sorry if you notice anybody out here, man, that ain't supposed to be out here or that's being distractive, you know what to do. So because it had no sound, I'm gonna go ahead and skip on to the next one, right? But notice this. Here's your man, Agent Orange. He's announcing the AI venture with SoftBank, Oracle, OpenAI. We were talking about this earlier. All right. So the big beautiful bill, all that money's already been invested into AI sourcing, into the tech.
So my first day back from having a nice life, it's my honor to welcome three of the world's leading technology CEOs. And in the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology. He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man and an amazing business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI and other things, and they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi's son, and CEO of OpenAI, and I would say the by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in it.
$500 billion to transform how we live with the AI technology, with the pushing of the medical oppression. You know what I'm talking about. The replacement of jobs, transhumanist agenda, all this stuff is all going to come into play. He comes in and backdoors everybody.
AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental
almost immediately. Where are those jobs at again? Because last I heard, the job market and the layoffs and the unemployment levels are skyrocketing because of the government shutdown. We didn't even get any numbers for October. More than likely, they're down. He said hundreds of millions of jobs have been created. Where are they at again?
undertaken is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations, because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So
what's the emergency? What's the emergency? Why are we fast tracking? What's the rush? What's the rush? Oh, this is acting up, huh? Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Even Christ told us that the time must be cut short for the elect's sake, lest no flesh should be saved. What's the emergency? What's the rush? Time is of the essence. All right, let me get this back over here. So we're gonna end that one. We just see $500 billion he's invested in AI. He's recruiting in companies that's been known and already been settled up with $150 million lawsuits for illegal data collection and spying and all of that. These are the ones he's deciding to recruit in. But let's see what else he's talking about with the Genius Act in creating stable coins. You know, they're saying we got to create our own coin because we want to stop with the money laundering, and we can't track and trace what's going on with the other digital investments with the Bitcoins and everything else. So they want to create their own, and that's going to be the system that everybody's going to be merged into. Remember, he said it's going to start here in America. We want to be the first ones to do it. We got competition, but China ain't really competition. They're really like a petri dish. They allow China to go through with a social credit system, the one-child policy, the population control, everything else. They monitor and watch that. They let them guinea pig their own people, and then next thing you know, they say, "Oh, it does work. We're going to do it over here now." And they're working all together. China's invested in American debt, farmland, everything else. I mean, it's a big farce. This big old competition. Not really.
And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes,
You see that? He said, if you say yes, I'll say yes. A lot of people are saying this. Yes, he's reading this particular script. He's following along with the plans. He's being puppeteered by the elites, just like any other stuffed shirt president that's sitting up in the White House. If you say yes, I'll say yes. I'll do whatever you tell me to do, boss.
I think it's great that you're involved, I will tell you. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using
a great reset, huh? Maybe that's what he's talking about. Oh, an upgrade. Okay. Getting rid of the old, in with the new.
Crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after I really met you for the first time? The Genius Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets back one for one with real US dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. It's really strengthening the dollar and giving the dollar great prominence. And with today's signing, we're pushing. So my first.
Okay, so now let's check this out. Now, notice here, right? Who's endorsing this? The World Economic Forum. Now, this is something that they have a company called FPC, and they're located in Sweden. Their specialty is biometrics. Fingerprint cards. AB Fingerprints is the world's leading biometrics company with its roots in Sweden. We believe in secure and seamless universe where you are the key to everything. Our solutions are found in hundreds of millions of devices and applications that are used billions of times every day, providing safe and convenient identification and authentication with a human touch. At Fingerprints, we're serious about security for our users and have been leading development and standardization in the field for over 20 years, ensuring that whatever we do is scalable and works for multiple customers across all platforms. Now, here's one thing. Now, there was a viral video and report a few years back, and they were talking about in Sweden how the Swiss are using microchips to access the wallet, the keys, doors, everything else. And a lot of our people, in particular, that hold on to the RFID is going to be the mark. If you believe that, okay. I believe it's much more expensive and it's not that simple. But this was being used as an example. See, hey, look, it's already happening. Get ready. Now, mind you, this was 6 years ago. They were talking about this, and I got other articles and videos from 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Microchip, your kids are gonna be microchipped by 2014. Everybody's gonna be chipped by 2016. Like, it's constant kicking the can down the road. At some point in time, we got to stop and really analyze everything and say, is that it? Is that the only way this thing is going to get implemented in? Is that the only way they're going to slide this to us, or are there other ways? Because remember, it said that the beast and the beast that's empowered by Satan is going to deceive the whole world. It's got to be something that's got to fool you. There's too many of our people who everybody already knows about the chip. Who's going to be fooled, or who's going to be deceived by that? So check this out. This is from Sweden, same country that's developed fingerprints, but there's a little difference. I'm going to explain why I see it differently.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work,
and again, disclaimer, I'm not denying that the technology exists as far as brain chip, microchip, that all exists, no question. And again, if that is part of the B system, or that is the only quote unquote mark, I wouldn't take it. I don't tell anybody to take it. I don't even vaccine me, my kids, nobody. Nothing's getting poked in my arm. The only thing they got me for was drawing my blood and my physical exams. But nothing is going into my body. Most High permit that I don't need nothing comes down the pipeline that I have to get anything injected into me. But if it's a voluntary thing, I do not condone getting poked in the arm at all. So let that be known and on record, because I know some of the Israelites out there, they said they ain't the market. They gonna die. They teaching everybody not to take. I'm telling you, if you believe in that and all, when it's all said and done, and everybody said, yeah, it is, I'm not taking it. I'm not doing it. If I didn't get poked in my arm 5 years ago, when they were saying all hell is breaking loose because something came from Wuhan, China, and I was ready to lose my job, whatever else, and I didn't do that, you damn sure I'm not going to do it when the ish hits the fan. But I'll tell you what, I for sure heard some Israelites saying, hey, just take it. A lot of Israelites was compromising and saying, well, I got to keep my job. I got to do it. There was a lot of people buckling and folding. Same ones running around here with their chests out talking about how much they got the breakdowns, and I'm going to leave that alone. So let this play.
he doesn't need ID, and he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
You like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Now, one thing we'll see, he's got the left hand. The Bible says the right hand, but that's a whole nother thing. So, for those saying, hey, look, this is it, that don't even fit the biblical narrative. But we'll continue.
A grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip. So I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's buy some snacks.
Exactly.
So I can't open it.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do is I need to first blip my chip, and it will log me in.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I get access to the fridge.
Now, let me ask you this. Which is easier, to scan your credit card at Whole Foods, have your information downloaded in it, let them scan your palm print, and now your biometric palm print is linked with your card, and you don't have to get anything poked up in you, you don't have to get anything injected into you, it's still convenient, and it's quote unquote secure. Which do you think people are going to go for quicker? I'll leave that there, because that's already happening at Amazon Whole Foods. Palm printing or paying with your palm is already being done. And don't nobody consider that being part of the grid or the web of the B system, the inner workings or the beginnings of a biometric way of paying. It started with paying with your Apple Watch, the phone. When I first seen that some years ago, I was like, what the hell? There's a cat in front of me in the store, and I didn't see him pull out of water or nothing. He put his wrist up to the card reader or whatever, paid for his stuff, and he was about it. And I was like, oh snap. And I was immediately, that's when the spirit hit me, said, man, it's the tech. You ain't got to get nothing poked up in you. People are already buying into the tech out of convenience and security.
Popular TV shows
That's the
like
deception.
Black Mirror have imagined chips as part of a dystopian future.
Install ingrain procedure with local anesthetic and you're good to go.
In Sweden, the microchips are already here.
The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards.
Which have made cash pretty much obsolete in Sweden.
No cash.
At this tech fair, a chipping event for those on the cutting edge, merging their hands with this new technology.
I thought it would be fun, right?
The process is simple and swift.
Fun, simple, no problem. Notice everybody's doing the left hand though. Again, the scriptures say in his right hand or in their forehead. Let's just make sure we're clear about that. So, and I know people are gonna say that we ain't saying that's the chip. That's the beginning stages. All right, I'll deal with that too. I'll settle for that. Fair enough. Not gonna be petty. But notice here, Revelation 13:16, and he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their what? Right hand or in their foreheads. All them is getting injected in their left hand.
Swift, a pinch of the skin, and in a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. The transformation is complete. As for the pain,
I barely felt it.
but even in this nation,
Because it's fun, it's cool, right? So I'm gonna leave that right there because I want to get back to this. So this is in Sweden. Okay. Now, doubling back. Look down here. Look who also is pushing this, right? The fingerprint ID card. But who's backing this? We didn't hear anything about this microchip and anything being endorsed by the World Economic Forum, did we? From that video? Or was this a particular tech company that people was, riding with? I'm more looking at who's endorsing and backing what. The WEF is standing behind the fingerprint. They're standing behind the biometrics through that measure. You follow? The scriptures tell us that the love of money is root of all evil. So we use that same principle to say, you want to find evil, man, follow the money. Well, where's the money? The money is tracking over here with this particular company, not the one that we just got to seeing publicly. That's where the deception comes into play. Here's their website right here. And just look at this face. I mean, you talk about, look, here's their products, right? Fingerprint scanning, iris, facial, and identity cloud. Notice again, right hand or in your forehead. Now, like I said, I'm looking at it in the spirit. I'm looking at it in the ways of, who's going to want to get a chip poked in your forehead? Is that going to happen? Or could it be your iris scan or your facial recognition loaded into a database in a B system, right? And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you spiritually compromise the moral, civil, dietary, ceremonial standards that the law presents for us to live by. That's how one is going to make a choice and either take the mark of righteousness as is found in Ezekiel the 9th chapter, or you can take this mark of evil and wickedness. Notice here, this is the company that the World Economic Forum is backing. Cutting edge biometric solutions designed for a world where security, identity, and convenience must go hand in hand. Must. Hello? Our products are built to protect, verify, and empower individuals and organizations with frictionless identity verification across digital and physical environments. Whether you're a fintech startup, a government agency, or a healthcare provider, our technologies are transforming the way identities are established and trusted. Notice who they serve: startup companies, government agencies, healthcare providers. This isn't for individuals. This ain't for, yeah, hey man, I want to, download the FBC app so I can. No, they're dealing with whole companies and governments in order to get this implemented. What do they use? Fingerprints, iris recognition, facial authentication, and it's all put what in a cloud database where they store it all. Okay. If y'all want to do some more research on this particular company website, again, this is coming out of Sweden. Now that's why I made the comparison, because that video from 6 years ago, same country, same situation. However, one is being backed by the same elite controllers and globalists that want to implement this great reset. The one on the video, no, that's the no look pass. That's where they get you to look one way. And meanwhile, on the other side is where the real dirt is. So keep that in mind. All right. So this is also the biometrics, the scanning. This is how they come in with the particular technology. Now, look at this. Sam Altman's eye scanning crypto project launches in the US. Eye scanning. Again, how else are they going to have something connected to your head? Two things between you. What's between your eyes, your forehead, your brain, your face, how you perceive and see things, how they identify you. As of March, world has orb verified 11 million people worldwide. Sam Altman's project that aims to scan the irises of every single person on Earth. Did you hear that? He's got a project that he's looking to scan the irises of every single person on Earth in exchange for cryptocurrency has made its debut in the US, even as concerns around biometric data collection and processing remain. Scanning your irises and transforming it into a digital currency is how they're creating their buy and sell method. The US rollout was made at an event late Wednesday in San Francisco, where the digital initiative called World also announced the planned launch of a payment card with Visa and a partnership with online dating service Match Group. So you see where also they get into data collection, because how many people are on these online dating services, uploading their profiles, putting all their information in there, creating payment systems, all on these particular platforms. Christian mingle, black singles, whatever these other damn online dates, plenty of fish, whatever the sodomite ones they got going. I mean, all of them is based around data collection. And who else? They're in partnership with Visa. They getting all this information. Tinder, scanning your irises, getting your faces, and it's all saying, oh, you know what? We'll incentivize it. We'll give you a little crypto cash in exchange for your eyes. How about that? Again, here is the digital map out for the ID. This is what the World Economic Forum is utilizing. This is their blueprint. This is their agenda. This is where we just got through saying fingerprints.com, and that company is endorsed by the WEF. This is how they're going to create all of these things. We're going to need, what they want everyone to have is a digital ID so that they can access their bank accounts, online financial transactions, food and sustainability. That's where you're going to get into the carbon credits, regulating how much meat you can eat. Have you had your proper intake of vegetables, all your GMOs? They want to make sure your Frankenfoods menu is filled to the rim. Your ability to travel, can you fly to this particular place or that particular place? Oh no, you're exhausted your carbon credits. No, you can't take that trip to your mother's funeral because you went on vacation to Hawaii last month and you burnt up all your credit. You feel me? Like this is what they're going to be lining up: travel and mobility, humanitarian response, e-commerce. You won't be able to, conduct business, shop online, have your secure payments done unless you have this ID. Your social platforms. This is why everybody's already addicted to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or X. Everything is going to be based upon. You won't be able to log on unless you get your digital ID done, your biometrics to log into your account. So for those of us who don't value the social media age as much as some of the rest, you'll be ready to say goodbye when they start switching it up, saying you won't be able to access your Instagram unless you do a log on via facial recognition. When you already know where that's going, oh, well, I guess you won't be getting my facial recognition. I'm not doing that much. Or you're gonna say, I got so many followers, I'm making so much money, I gotta continue on. I can't do that. Take this, take that. You do whatever. All these things are going to be compromising situations. E-government, we just talked about earlier, to pay your taxes, vote, all this other stuff. Telecommunications, smart city access, healthcare, all going to be lined up in one fell swoop. Look at this. The WHO treaty is tied to a global digital passport and an ID system, the World Health Organization treaty. Now, Trump at one point was on point by backing out of this treaty and didn't want to have anything to do with it. But I believe that expires in 2026. So America's going to be on board with it pretty soon anyway. So the World Health Organization, and that one thing, like I said, I'll say the truth when it applies. Agent Orange, when he was president in 2016, he took America out of the World Health Organization. He cut them off. Slow Biden comes in, he gave them the keys to the car and to the house. And they created the whole system of, the whole COVID thing. Now is back on again, but they've created a global treaty that now is going to be requiring a digital passport and ID system. They utilize the health scares to do it, but it's on the table, right? So the WHO recently announced plans for an international pandemic treaty tied to a digital passport, digital ID system, meeting in December of 2021 in a special session for only the second time since the World Health WHO's founding in 1948. The Health Assembly of the WHO adopted a single decision titled "The World Together." Now, this is, mind you, this is an article from 4 years ago. Like I told you, I've been compiling all this stuff for years. Now, notice it said the digital ID, the passport and ID system. You just seen the testimony from the brother that was in South Africa and then went to, I think he went to Dubai or Saudi Arabia. And he gave you his whole testimony about what it was to have his digital passport and ID system and everything. That was implemented. And that's what they was explaining. This is part of that treaty. That's why I said this is pretty much how we're moving over here. And Trump said, no, we ain't doing that. But I believe it expired. Let me make sure. I don't want to misquote that, but I do remember. That's a climate agreement. Yeah, that's the climate agreement he pulled out of, but I don't know about this other, the global health treaty. I don't want to delay too much more, but I got to double back on that one. But I know he backed out of it, but there was something within there that said that it was going to expire in 2026 or something like that, and he'd have to either re-sign a declaration to decline or to stay out of the WHO, or he was going to jump back into it. But I think that's how it went. But anyway, more to cover. Here's another thing. Wearable tech. What is wearable technology? Definition, uses, and examples. This is another form of this beast system. So not only do we have the biometric system, we've got the QR codes lined up through the phones and all that other stuff. There's also the wearable technology. Now, look here. It says wearable tech is any kind of electronic device designed to be worn on the user's body. Such devices can take many different forms, including jewelry, accessories, medical devices, and clothing or elements of clothing. The term wearable computing implies processing or communication capabilities, but in reality, the sophistication of such capabilities among wearables can vary. The most advanced examples of wearable technology include artificial intelligence, hearing aids, MetaQuest and Microsoft HoloLens, and holographic computer in the form of a virtual reality headset. So that's all part. You see people with the VR headsets, man, they running in the walls, they jumping like they, are really into a game. That's all part of wearable tech. Fitbit watches, tracking your heartbeat, how many steps you're taking. That's all wearable tech. Google, remember they used to have the Google glasses where you could, access your Facebook and all that other stuff. And now they got, I think the Ray-Ban glasses now that works as cameras and you can take pictures, and that's all wearable tech now. That's all part of it. Now watch this. How does wearable technology work? Modern wearable technology falls under a broad spectrum of usability, including smartwatches, fitness trackers such as the Fitbit Charge, VR headsets, smart jewelry, web-enabled glasses, and Bluetooth headsets. How many of you already got a lot of this stuff? Fitbits, Bluetooth headsets, fitness trackers, smartwatches. We all think, oh, it's all convenient. Let me tap on my phone. Remember they used to have that show, what was it? Get Smart? Or Mission Impossible cashiers talking on their watches and all that. Now that's a reality. It's all here now. Wearables work differently based on their intended use, such as health, fitness, or entertainment. Most wearable technology contains microprocessors, batteries, and internet connectivity, so that the collected data can be synced with other electronics, such as smartphones or laptops. Wearables have embedded sensors that track bodily movements, provide biometric identification, or assist with location tracking. Pay attention to all of that. While you're so happy about the convenience and how cool the technology is, remember the back door is open for tracking your bodily movements, providing biometric identification, and assist with your location tracking. For example, activity trackers or smartwatches, the most common types of wearables, come with a strap that wraps around the user's wrist to monitor their physical activities or vital signs throughout the day. Most wearables are either worn on the body or attached to the clothing. Some function without any physical contact with the user. Cell phones, smart tags, or computers can still be carried around and track user movements. Other wearables use remote smart sensors and accelerator meters to track movements and speed, and some use optical sensors to measure heart rate or glucose levels. A common factor among these wearables is that they all monitor data in real time. Why is that important? Look at this. RFK Jr., he's the head of the Department of Health, assigned by Agent Orange, wants everyone to use wearables. What are the benefits and the risks? He said he wants everybody wearing and having wearables by 2028. Everybody he wants locked in. Last week, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy announced the agency was launching a campaign to encourage all Americans to use wearables to track health metrics. Matter of fact, let me show you how they backed him down. Now he's supposed to be the cat all into health and all that, right? They backed him down. Look at him. RFK Jr. eating McDonald's, drinking Coke, where Trump goes viral. He's supposed to be the super healthy guy, Trump said, man, bow down and eat my favorite. I mean, who's still eating McDonald's? Only the damn zombies running around here. But guess what? This is when you knew he was compromised. This is when you knew he bowed down. Right? And this is another prime example of even in where's that story at? In I think it's in First Maccabees. With Eleazar. I think it's First Maccabees. Let me make sure I got that one. Shalaki, real quick. Because this reminds me, and this is another example when we're talking about what happens with, Israelites. And when I say, what's going to happen when we're put in positions where we have to make choices of whether or not we're going to bow down to Caesar and do it as we're told, and or are we going to put up a resistance? Right now, notice here he goes. Now you hear him talking about, oh, he did got rid of the red 40 out of the foods and a couple other things out the junk foods and all that other stuff, man. But when I seen this, I said, oh, he's compromised. He's supposed to be talking about eating healthy and all that. And he's sitting up there eating McDonald's with these goofballs. And now all of a sudden he's talking about he wants everybody wearing wearables by 2028. So he's also agenda driven. Now, this is why I say also it's a compromise with why is this thing not pulling up my scriptures? Oh, this one ain't doing it with the. Why don't I have my apocrypha on here? Yeah, this thing is bugged out, man. Okay. Shalaki, y'all. Give me 1 second. 2 Maccabees 16, right? And this is what I mean when it comes down to compromise and pressure. When it comes down to accepting the mark and the marking of the system, rolling with the system of the beast, or not, right? 2 Maccabees 6:17. But let this that we had spoken be a warning unto us. And now will we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. So Eleazar, a high priest, a principal scribe, man of good report, the Greeks said, look, we want you to go in front of your people. We want you to pretend that you're eating swine's flesh. We won't even give you swine. We just want them to believe that you're willing to do it so that they can follow along. If you do it, they're going to do it. And he said, what? I won't even deceive my people in that manner. No way I'm doing that. I'm not compromised. I ain't doing it. I'd rather die an honorable death than to do that. And that's exactly what he did. It says, and as it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted, but they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision. So they said, look, you can bring a lamb sandwich, you can bring a turkey, chicken. It don't gotta be swine, Eleazar. Stop taking it so serious. Same way they're gonna say, it's not that big a deal. It's just wearable tech. It's just a digital tattoo. It's not that big a deal. You want to buy and sell, don't you? You want to be able to continue on your Instagram account, don't you? You still want to be able to have your job, don't you? Download the app into your phone. Yes, it's saying that the only thing that the only meat that you're going to be able to get is, swine and catfish. Whatever, I'm just making these particular examples. Yes, they're going to tell you you're going to have to work on the Sabbath. You're going to have to check in every Sabbath. And these are the things where people are going to have to make decisions. Say that This stuff is making it too compromising with the laws, statutes, and commandments. I'm not doing it. Can't do it. So Eleazar said, man, you asked me to compromise the law? Oh, I'm not even going to do that? Are you telling me I can eat my own flesh of my own provision, but at the cost of deceiving my own people and have them be destroyed? He said, hell no. Continuing on, it says, such as was lawful for him to use and make as if he did eat the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king, that in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider discreetly, and is become, and as became his age and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereon was come and most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High. So what did he think on? The law that was given by the Most High, how he was raised from a child, right? These are the things that helped him decide what path he was going to choose, what side he was going to choose. Is he going to stay honorable with the Most High, or was he going to sell out his people, his God, and go along with the program? Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightway to send him to the grave. For it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being fourscore years old and 10, so he was 90 years old, were now gone to a strange religion. And so they, through mine hypocrisy and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, see that? Oh, I just want to get by a little bit. I'm gonna do this, but I ain't gonna do it. Compromise. Should be deceived by me, and I get a stain in my old age and make it abominable. So y'all can read the rest of this. For time's sake, I'm not gonna read the rest, but powerful testimony by our elder brother Eleazar, who made a decision to say, I'm not selling out. Can't do it. Put me to death if that's what it is. RFK Jr., he went on this whole tirade. He was anti-poke in the arm. He was going to stop Tylenol and autism and all this other stuff, and Red 40 and crusade to change the whole thinking. And as he's celebrating eating McDonald's, celebrating his appointment to the Health and Human Services Secretary, eating McDonald's with the rest of the demons, I guess, we shouldn't be surprised when he says, oh, by the way, part of my campaign is to make sure everybody's got some wearables on in the next 4 years so we can track and trace and monitor your health and everything else, and load that into the database of the digital ID. Because remember, the WF digital ID said it also is to monitor and regulate your health care too. Oh, so they all working together. Let's not get it twisted. Wearables come in the form of watches, bands, rings, patches, and clothes that can be used for a variety of reasons, including monitoring glucose levels, measuring activity levels, track heart health, and observe sleeping patterns. It's a way people can take control over their own health. They can take responsibility. Very interesting. See how they make it seem like you're in control? Meanwhile, everything is being tracked, traced, and downloaded into a database, and they're in control. Kennedy said during a hearing at the White House Subcommittee on Health, they can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. And they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. So I guess, he didn't have his wearables on when he was eating. Mind you, he had didn't he have like 2 Big Mac? What is this? Him and his boy. Look at it. He looked like a McRib and something else, and fries and drink, soda. Come on, man. What are we talking about? He's telling you how to be healthy. All right. Let me get this back. My mouse is tripping. All right. You know that face. You know that face. You see what it said? Bill Gates, tattoos, end of smartphones or total control. Let's see here. Now, notice what we're talking about here. I want you to key in on this word: tattoos, the end of smartphones or total control. Why is he a player in this game? We know that name is notorious, right? But we didn't hear about these particular visits that he's been meeting up with Agent Orange. this year. Once in January, 3 days before he's inaugurated as president, Agent Orange says, "Hey, Bill, come on over. Let me holler at you." Bill Gates on Trump meeting. Frankly, I was impressed. This came out January 2025, January 17th. Look at this. I had a chance about 2 weeks ago to go have a long and actually quite intriguing dinner with him, Gates told the Wall Street Journal editor-in-chief Emma Tucker. Gates said the discussion during the dinner, which Susie Wiles, the incoming White House chief of staff, also attended, focused on innovation in the global health sphere. Trump reportedly got, quote, pretty excited as they discussed the potential development of a cure for HIV and polio mitigation efforts. Quote, he in the COVID days accelerated the vaccine innovation. Did you hear that? Gates said. So who was responsible for warp speed? Who was responsible for pushing out the pokes in the arm? Yeah, Agent Orange. Now, Slow Biden took the credit and enhanced everything, but Agent Orange started the avalanche. And Gates is letting you know, hey, he was the one that accelerated and pushed it out there. So I was asking him if maybe the same kind of thing could be done here, and we both got it. I think pretty excited about that. So they over there getting excited with each other, you know, damn near coming to orgasm with each other, talking about how much they're ready to develop some new pokes in the arms and health advancements in the name of HIV and polio. Yeah, right. Look at this. That was January. Now in August, second meeting, Bill Gates met with Trump to talk about the importance of the U.S. global healthcare programs and health research. So he's been having backdoor meetings with this guy, and we all know Gates has been notorious for population control agenda, GMO mosquitoes. He got kicked out of Pakistan for poking up some of the Pakistanis, man, with polio, and like 12 kids died. He's ran rampant in Africa, right? Remember when the Pope came out, him and his wife said, we got to make sure the poor people get it. So, you know, we're going to focus on the African American and Hispanic and Indian communities and make sure they get it first. So we know this guy's notoriously evil. And look who's been having meetings twice already this year. What else is he responsible for? Cryptocurrency system using body activity. Yes, Bill Gates has a patent. W020200600606. Now, some people were saying, hey, you do the math, it's 2020-666. That's the name, the number of the beat. I'm not going that far in the conspiracy hole. They're saying in 2020 the mark was introduced, and that was the poke in the arm, and you know, because if you take out the zero, you got 2020, and then you got 06 is 6 plus 0 is 6, 6 plus 0 is 6, 6 plus 0 is 6, 2020 666, the mark of the beast came. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but what I will stick to is the facts. When we're talking about the wearable technology, the cryptocurrency, all being implemented, reward systems based upon the biometrics, that's what this whole patent was based after. Let's look at it. Specifically, the application is for a system whereby tasks are given to users, which on participation or completion can be rewarded with cryptocurrencies. So we just seen Sam Altman said, well, for your iris scans, we'll give you some cryptocurrency. We'll give you a little money. Remember the scriptures say that surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. That's how they tantalize you, to trick you. That's the deception. Oh, you want some crypto? We're going to help you. We got this new startup, this new CBDC. We got this new altcoin. You can be one of the first ones in. All we need is your biometrics. All we need is your iris scan. You're going to be rich off of this. Come on. We're going to give you some tasks. Make sure that you go out and do your 100, do your 1,000 steps a day. Make sure you go get your annual checkup and get your flu vaccine. This is the type of things that they're going to incentivize for people to get this stuff. Now, look, it says information is collected from a sensor coupled with coupled with or potentially within the user's device to determine whether those tasks have been completed. The patent application describes that user device as potentially being, quote, personal computers, servers, cell phones, tablets, laptops, smart devices, e.g. smartwatches or smart television. So it's all integrated from the wearable tech to all of the quote unquote smart tech that's in your households. They got dishwashers that can, collect your data, talk to you. They got the damn, no pun intended, IQ vacuums that, roam around the floor. You got Alexa, you got, Siri, you got Gemini, the refrigerators, the grid is there. And Bill Gates says, hey, I got the patent on how we can make sure everybody's incentivized to utilize these things, do their tasks so they can get paid. Look here. It says it may also be a piece of wearable tech. Now, this came out, I want to say at least 5-6 years ago. And now who's saying everybody needs to have the wearable tech 2028? Okay. So you see where this is going. Now, one thing we've got to make sure that we process and cover as well is why I hold the stance of, and we at MLTC hold a particular stance of, is not a quote unquote chip. Like I said, it's dual fulfillment regarding this. Number one, the spiritual element as it pertains to sin and wickedness, and then also it's coupled with a physical representation of that. Right now, we're gonna look at this Revelation 13:16. Now, what we're looking at here is this word, mark. All right. So when you're looking at this word mark in the Greek, it's charagma. Now, what I have here on the PowerPoint, I blew it up a little bit. And as we can see here, you see the word there, mark, graven. What does it mean? A stamp or imprinted mark. A stamp is not an injection. A stamp is surface level. Imprinted, meaning that it's engraved, almost like, let's say if you got branded, I could see that more than an actual incision, cut, or injection. Now, notice it says, of the mark stamped on the forehead or on the right hand as a badge of the followers of Antichrist, the mark branded upon horses, a thing carved, sculptured, or graven work, or of idolatrous images. So idolatry can also be part of receiving this particular mark. So I'm not going to go into the whole breakdown of this because I got other stuff I want to cover, but just looking at that particular word. So when people are looking at it and saying, well, what's the mark? By definition, charagma means that it's a scratch or etching, a stamp, as a badge of servitude, as an example. So when one pledges their allegiance, when one commits themselves to the works of this beast system, that's a badge of servitude. You've committed yourself to serving the beast. Or a sculptured figure, a graven mark. It could be something that is in the form of idolatrous worship, things that go against the moral or the civil standards of us being able to keep the commandments of the Most High. Physically, it says it could be a scratch or etching. So again, a scratch also, depending on how you look at it, a scratch isn't the same as a cut. You scratch something, yeah, you're going to pierce the first layer of your skin, but how far do you have to go under the skin to insert a chip? You got to go pretty far, or etching, right? So by definition, looking at it from the RFID and that tech doesn't really work for me, but let's look at some more. This is the reference from the scripture, Revelation 13:16. We just got to reading that, right? Now, notice it also says that there's multiple ways. That's why I say it can't just be one thing. Because it says, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So there's 3 different ways that you can be disqualified from the kingdom of heaven, and it ain't just one way. Okay, now this word stigma or stigmata, this would have been more of the right Greek word if it was something getting pricked or cut into. So Galatians 6:17 says, "From henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai." This word marks is stigma. And it says, by definition, it says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies. So stigma would have been a better usage of the word in Revelations 13, 16, and 17 if it was an injectable chip. But that wasn't the word that was used. And we've seen the definition. It greatly varied from this, right? And that says to indicate what master or general they belong to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. So this is a form that people marked or branded themselves, cut themselves with markings to show that their allegiances to their slave owners or whatnot, that's what that mark is. So there's 2 different markings. The one that if it was getting, you getting a chip in you, it should have been stigma, not charagma. But, be that as it may, like I said, either way, don't do it. Don't do it either way. But know that the deception is coming through other means where people are more convenient. Remember, we just seen a girl in Sweden. She was talking about, oh, I did it because it's fun. No, they're saying it's convenience, security, everything else, and that's what everybody's already addicted to anyway. So why not make it easier to just say, hey, you're already hooked on this stuff. Just download this app. Just make sure that you're following this standard. Just make sure that you're following along with these particular rules. Just make sure that your QR code checks out. So that's how they, get the deception rolling. Look at this. Researchers are developing injectable smart tattoos that can someday monitor your health. Now, this is why I said the law also is important, because we know, according to Leviticus 19:27, we're not allowed to have those. So when it comes down to another aspect of how it could be presented, Leviticus 19:28, that's why I say that the law is what we have to make sure we understand and don't get caught compromising. Leviticus 19:28, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh. So what's the other form? Injectable smart tattoo that could someday monitor your health. Tattoos are considered to be among the oldest forms of art, dating back thousands of years and practiced by many cultures across human history. Now, some researchers believe the next generation of tattoos will be about more than just markings by helping keep tabs on our health. So look here, creating a quote smart tattoo. Pigments that can be injected under the skin. See, that would be a form of charagma, right? Putting ink, that's a scratch or etching. That's a surface level marking that you can see. That's what they, are implementing or talking about implementing. And they say, oh, it's for monitor your health, right? Injected under the skin to monitor certain biomarkers in the human body requires collaboration between scientists, engineers, and designers, says Dr. Ali Yedison, a researcher in the Department of Chemical Engineering at Imperial College in London. His concept replaces conventional tattoo ink with, quote, functional materials. And that's why they make tattoos are so trendy. Everybody's doing it. Your favorite athlete is doing it. Your favorite rapper's doing it. Singers doing it. You seeing politicians. Pete Hegseth, he's the head of Department of War. He's running around with tattoos on him because now it's trendy, because it's acceptable. You got grandmas doing it. People are all doing it because they're thinking, oh, this is acceptable now. Nobody's tripping about it. So now that can be a deceptive way to bring in another aspect of this market because everybody's doing it. And then they say, oh, it's for your health. No, there's going to be requirements for your health to monitor your health. Remember, that's part of the digital ID, your health care. How you manage and how they implement it is going to be part of that system. So look here. I'm gonna stop reading that and let's look at this video. You see the ways that they do it. They said directly from the skin, fabric, and this is from a Microsoft website. This is Microsoft's YouTube. And didn't Bill Gates have a hand in Microsoft? Oh, okay. Yeah. See that? Oh, you can play games, listen to music, change your TV channels. You see how the transhumanist system works in? The convenience? All from a little tattoo on your arm. On your hand. So the technology is there and it's present. You can see that. So when you're talking about, again, going back and you're saying, well, what kind of mark could they make that is a scratch or etching or a stamp or an imprinted mark? Well, we just seen an example of it. This right here, that's one way, right? So let's continue on. Tech 5 and Visa to integrate biometric digital wallets and payments for DPI. So we already see the companies that's involved, that's buying into it, that's going to roll with the program. Visa's there, MasterCard's there. They're all lining up with biometrics, digital wallets as part of the grid system of Beast, right? Visa and Tech 5 will work together to integrate digital payment capabilities with biometrics, identity management, and trust infrastructure technologies under a strategic collaboration agreement. The point is that you see all of these particular companies, government agencies, they're all working towards the same goal. That's how you know it's a B system. That's how you know it's a system. Because all the players in the game are all going towards the same direction. They're all going to go meet in the middle. And they're going to pull all of their clientele and all of their subjects with them into the whole. Continuing on, so the 7-year agreement is intended to support the development and deployment of digital public infrastructure around the world, according to a joint announcement. The partners plan to look into the distribution of digital identity wallets with embedded payment functionalities, embedded, it's already in, to secure interoperable and scalable digital ecosystems. Tech 5 gets strategic support for its business development initiatives from Visa, advice on its engagements with financial institutions, and funding for joint projects. The partners will also develop a joint framework for sales, business development, and marketing for their DPI initiative. The two companies have an extensive relationship with an agreement signed in late 2023. Now, notice it says late 2023, right? Is when they began the agreement. Go back up to second paragraph. 7-year agreement. What year will we be in when they initiated this? 2023. It's a 7-year agreement. Oh, you got it. 2030. Remember that? Remember that year? Didn't we hear that before? Okay. Now you're getting it. The two companies have an extensive relationship with an agreement signed in 2023, late 2023, to work together on aligning digital identity and payments through collaboration on digital wallets and contactless biometrics. They have also been working together on the DPI program for bank credential issuance in Ethiopia through the country's FADE Pass digital wallet. So we see what's going on. All right. I'm going to stop there. Information overload can be a MFer, as they say, right? But you get the picture. You see what it is. It's more than enough information. Like I said, that was just kind of like the abridged version. There's a lot more to talk about, but I think the point should be made and understood, right? That should be understood. The B system is much more than just a injection under your wrist. There's a plethora of traps that's being set up that's going to put everybody, in particular the Lord's children, in positions of compromise. Is going to make us either choose righteousness or the system of the beast to survive, when we're all going to be surviving off of, the diligence that we face towards the Most High, right? But with that being said, I'm gonna close out with one more scripture, and hopefully this was edifying, and brothers and sisters have a better picture of understanding what's going on in this beast system, right? And the pitfalls and traps that's being lined up for us to fall in. And he's working fast. Remember, Agent Orange said, man, we're working. He said, if I got to sign some emergency documents, we got to move fast on this, because the Lord's children are waking up. We're repenting. We're seeking the face of the Most High 10 times the more. We're facing the east. We're gathering ourselves together. And now he's realizing this, and he's saying, hey, you know what? I got to stop it. His wickedness is being exposed. All the nations now are upset with them. World War III is on the table. Most High said there's going to be no peace unto the wicked. That's why you keep hearing about all these failed peace deals. There's only one way to go from here. That's towards the end. That's towards the finish line. Elder Rashab did a lesson last weekend talking about pressing towards the mark. That's what we got to be doing, right? Revelation 13, 10, and 11. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. So our job is to love ourselves, our neighbors, the Most High, Yahweh Shai, and fulfill these laws. Verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe, right? And in us seeking that, why does this thing keep jumping? In us seeking that, we want to do this too. I'm gonna read this in Ezekiel 9 and 6. And this is when, the judgment and the angel of death is being sent out to destroy in these end times. And we're going to read Ezekiel 9. We're going to read down verse 3 down. It says, and the glory of the power of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So the mark that we want to be sealed with is the mark of the Most High, the mark of righteousness, the mark of us being a separate and righteous people. Right? Verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed for rebelliousness, the unwillingness to want to repent and seek the face of the Most High, for calling us crazy and everything else. They're not going to be spared. Verse 6, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So I think it's in Second Peter. The Most High said that judgments must begin at the house of the Lord first. You know, the Most High is going to purge out and clean house here first. We got to get our acts together. We got to make sure that we're on the right page when it comes down to what mark we choose to maintain in these last days and times. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Always remember, fear the Most High, keep the commandments, don't shoot the messenger. Tomorrow's class is going to be part 2 regarding who are the 10 tribes of Israel according to the scriptures, prophecy, archaeology, history, so forth and so on. It'll probably be a 3 or 4 part series. If you didn't get a chance to see part 1 yesterday, do yourself a service. Go check it out, review that, so that you can be up to speed when part 2 airs tomorrow, 3 p.m. closing Shabbat class. All right. So with that being said, y'all have a blessed night. See y'all in the near future. Shalom.